Welcome to AFA Highlights, brought to you by AFA Hub. This podcast is your window into the creative journeys of our talented students and alumni, featuring their remarkable work and inspiring stories. Each episode is packed with behind-the-scenes insights, engaging interviews, and expert advice, showcasing how our students transformed their big ideas into even bigger opportunities. Whether you're an artist, a dreamer, a curious creative, or simply a supportive ally, we're thrilled to have you here. Think of this as your exclusive backstage pass to inspiration. So sit back, get ready, and join us as we celebrate the extraordinary together.
Hi guys, Shanna Forstall here. I'm your host for Season 1 of AFA Highlights, where we get to talk about the accomplishments of some of the AFA students and alumni. And we're so excited today to have Lucas Marra with us. Am I saying her name right?
Hello.
Yay! Welcome to the show. I'm so glad to have you on here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's going to be lovely, and we're so excited to talk about your work, Lucas. I'm so proud of you. I wanted to start by asking you about your AFA journey. I wanted to find out, how did you even get to AFA? How did you even get to the school? How did you hear about it? What made you decide to come? All those things.
Well, I heard about AFA Hub from my mother, who, as soon as I got out of college, we're looking for people who are looking for programs that help people with certain disabilities or are on the spectrum of some sort. Just to let you know, I have a high functioning Asperger's. When I was younger, I guess I heard about it before, but I was a little too self-conscious about having Asperger's, or like having the label of having Asperger's. My mom wanted me to lean more into it, or having to embrace that title, but when I was younger, I didn't really feel comfortable sharing that. But as I got older, it became more and more apparent that because knowing that I have Asperger's, it's not necessarily a label, but it's more a roadmap to how my brain works.
I love that.
And we were looking for programs after college, and we eventually refound AFA Hub. And after a long process, I managed to get a seat with the head of the program, Grant, who helped me, was kind of a mentor for the start, and who helped me find a paid program internship. I started going around through Huddle, making a few characters for Huddle, and I loved that. I love character design next to 2D animation, and it was just, I feel like I've really grown.
Yeah.
And for the most part, it's just been phenomenal. I've always wanted to be an animator, a viz dev artist, a character designer, and I feel like I can explore that a little more now that I have this job and this opportunity.
Yeah. And you've done such a good job, Lucas. Like, you've been such a great addition. What I love about you is you're a great individual worker, but I found you to be such a good teamwork person. Like, you're really good at becoming part of a team. And we're going to talk more about your work and how you've stepped in and helped a current project. But I also feel like you're a team leader, and not everybody has that potential. You do. You are. And I that brings such a valuable thing to the table. And you anticipated my second question, which was going to be, what do you love most about your work? And so you said it's the character design and the 2D animation, right?
Yeah, it's been something like that. Just figuring out more of the particulars of 2D animation, and just figuring out just the mechanics.
Yeah, which you obviously have a brain for. That's awesome. So let's talk about your work. So you did some work with Huddle, and then now you're working with us at My Calm World, working on some projects. And I want to talk about those projects because they're really exciting. I believe when you first came on, we gave you Lola the Princess Puggle. You designed Lola, and what you liked about the project and what you learned from it.
Well, I was given the general idea of the Princess Puggle from my from you, actually. You gave me a picture of, or just a picture to work on. I tried to make the character design more cute, more presentable, and with the audio, it was a bit of a challenge because never really uh I never really tackled a project like this before. So I figured that because I've never really done an animation like by myself from the ground up, so I realized like what I had to start working on, what I had to work on first. So I decided to work on the on the character first. The backgrounds were a little tricky because I was still like trying to figure out perspectives and everything. But I just figured like a subtle blue background that would change into a warm pink color would actually work because of anything else actually brought up upon by the How the Grinch Stole Christmas by Dr. Seuss. That end credits
Uh-huh.
or the ending scene, I guess. To me, it actually works really well. Now, the other thing was the reason that it took so long was because I had to struggle with that. Had I was struggling with, I guess, my own demons, my thought of, I guess, not being good enough, realizing that I had never done this before. I was entering new territory, and just it was a little bit hard for me, but I realized like when I got over it, it was actually really amazing and really rewarding to actually see something get done by my hands.
That's great to hear, Lucas. And you did such beautiful work. And what I love about Lola, what I've always loved about that story is just that it's about how we see ourselves. And it's interesting that you took a story about this Puggle saw herself as something and had to be tenacious. She had to be resilient. She had to like be a little bit stubborn and
Right.
see her own potential. And then you were doing the same thing while you were creating the animation. I love
Yeah,
that
pretty
so
much.
much. Because that's the life principle that we all have to do, right?
Yeah, that little bleed effect, it bled into like my own sort of, it was like holding a mirror up to myself in a way.
I love that so much. So if you guys are wondering, so the work we do under My Calm World, we created all kinds of products, starting with like children's stories, meditations, original music, all these things. So this particular project we're talking about is Lola the Princess Puggle, and it is a children's story. And we had it as a storybook. And then he helped us turn it into an animated story. So now you can watch it. It's a short little video or, bedtime story you can show kids. And it's available on the My Calm World. You can find links on the website. It's on the My Calm World YouTube channel. And the audio is also out on all of the streaming outlets. But yeah, you can watch that anytime on the My Calm World YouTube channel. And if you get there, please be sure to follow and like it because we want you to continue seeing all the incredible work that's coming from these AFA students. So I love Lola. I think it's such a fun little story. But you also, after that, I was like, okay, this guy's good. Let's see what else we can do. And we had you come in and help some other projects. So we have other AFA students working, and some of them have some of them have characters that have already been developed, but we needed backgrounds or we needed further development. And you have come in and done a really good job of jumping in and adding on to things. I believe you did some backgrounds from Macatma
Oh yeah.
meditation series. And then the biggest one that you're working with now is Kayla Silverstein created our character Gwendolyn, which is our mental health series for kids. And Gwendolyn has a couple pieces out, but she has a whole new album coming out this year. And with that album, we are working on videos to go with each of the songs to be released shortly thereafter. And Lucas has jumped in. He jumped in first doing backgrounds for Gwendolyn that she was already creating. And then Kayla can't even keep up with all of these songs and stories. So then I believe that you then took over actually creating a Gwendolyn for a project or two now and doing the backgrounds and doing the Gwendolyn as well. So let's talk about the Gwendolyn series and like, what have you learned? What do you love about it? What's happening?
Well, working on the Gwendolyn series is it's actually, I guess it's kind of an eye-opening experience because it makes me think about projects like in a way that I haven't before. Like what has to be done first? What would make these videos a little more, I guess, a little more memorable or make them stand out just a little bit more. I gotta say, just also working on the character Gwendolyn, it's kind of I guess sort of a dream come true because I'm working on character animations, working on character designs, and it allows me to focus on both those things.
And you've done a really great job. And I love, again, I love the way you've come in and been such a good team player, Lucas. You made the other uh, team members feel comfortable. Sometimes you've given oversight them, you've given them advice or you've helped them solve something. And that's one of the things that Hani and I were talking about was just like how cool it is to have teamwork now and to be collaborating. She was saying she signed up for this stuff because she thought she was going to get to work alone. And then all of a sudden she's like, wait, I'm part of a team. But it pulled her out of her shell, and now she's more confident. She's getting better at communication and all the things. And I'm really proud of you guys because, yeah, I mean, there's so many sides to this. You started creating characters from scratch, and I'm going to have you do more of those. But now you're also taking over someone else's character and creating new iterations of that. And then the backgrounds you've done have been really interesting because we've had you doing like these characters are moving. They're moving through time and space and things are changing. And like, let's talk about that a little bit because that had to be a challenge. And I was like, I can't even imagine personally trying to do that. Like, it'd be accurate.
I just want to say that making backgrounds is not my strongest suit, but ever since I've like taken over, like I guess taken over or helped some of these projects, I've actually seen background designs in a little bit more light.
Yeah.
And it's been really helpful for me because again, I've never been a big background designer, but I've just seen a little bit more of what goes into like these backgrounds, how to move them in, I guess, a 3-dimensional space or how to make them move alongside the character.
Right. And I know that's been challenging because there's static background and then we did the background from a cat where things were moving, but she was pretty much static except for her mouth or whatever. But now you're doing where like Gwendolyn is walking towards us and then there's pullouts. I mean, there's all kind of things happening. The world's changing and you've done a really great job. I think, guys, you're going to be really excited to see this Gwendolyn work. Like, I can't wait for this album to come out. It's going to come out this year and then the videos will come out about the same time. Let's talk about the content of Gwendolyn because we talked about Lola a little bit. Have you learned anything yourself or like what stood out to you about the Gwendolyn content? Gwendolyn's a fiery little character and Kayla's done a good job of creating this little quirky, tenacious little thing, that comes out, sings and right? And you've done a good job of picking that up. What do you think about Gwendolyn and what do you think about what she's doing in the world? Or
from what I've taken, she's a lot like everyone else. She has these problems, but she always has a stiff upper lip when it comes to these like difficult things that she's dealing with. Like sometimes true colors that can be depicted as either not seeing yourself or not seeing or just being clouded by what everybody else is picturing you to be. With This Is My Space, sometimes things can get a little hectic, so you need your own place to be calm, to just figure out things that are bugging you, or if things are a little too anxious or anxiety ridden.
yeah, This Is My Space. It's about just grounding yourself in that moment and go, this is my space and I am in it. I'm here, like reminding ourselves that we're here. That's good. And the town hall busy, I can't wait to see you finish that. I am so excited about that piece. You're doing such a good job. So he's taking her. Look, you say it. You talk about it. I love what you're doing with this piece.
There were a couple things that I wanted to work with. I wanted to work on painting the separate buildings and having her and having them move as she walks past them. But then I realized I basically did the same thing, but I'm working on a flat background. I'm putting the town itself on one layer. And when I got the feedback, it was more that we were going to zoom in on her face. And when we zoomed out, it was going to be this picturesque Western town that didn't really have anything going on. It was just a calm town with nothing busy or ecstatic going on.
Right. And that's the point of it, is she goes from this crazy present reality to, in her mind, when she breathes, she's able to go to this totally other place and be calm. Right.
Right. And I think I'm going to do something like with the like with the shaders and the color palette. I think probably the starting colors are going to be a little more sporadic, and just like it gives you that sense of like a crazy sort of aesthetic. Like you can't, like things would be all over the place, but when you zoom out, the colors will be just mellow and just a nice place that you would want to visit.
And that's perfect. And so he's literally creating two worlds for this, because she starts in this frenetic place where she's in a car and there's traffic and she's like all stressed and mama's stressed, everybody's stressed. And then when she breathes, then everything changes and she starts to put herself in a much more calm and peaceful environment. And you're doing a great job of creating those two environments. And guys, so that's the thing that you're pointing out, Lucas, is that, you guys have to put so much thought into these pieces. It's not just about like, oh, I can create a town. It's like, no, what's happening in this town? How does it feel to this person? What color is it? Are things moving? Are they not moving? Like all of these things factor into what we're going to feel as the audience. And so you as the creative have to factor all these things in. And that's what I love about your process and your talent. You're doing a really good job of really thinking through, what do we feel like in the beginning? What do we want people to feel like at the end? And how does this piece carry them on that journey, right?
Yeah.
So, we're going to wrap it up. I wanted to ask, we've talked about what you've learned from this journey. What would you say to someone else who's a creative, who's watching this? Maybe they haven't joined the school yet, or maybe they want to do something else. Maybe they want to be a dancer, or they have some creative gift that they want to do, and maybe they're a little scared or shy or whatever. What would you say to encourage a person to reach out and to take a chance or to do more of their creative gift?
Well, what you just got to do is just do it first, try it out, see if you like it or not, see if it really speaks to you. And there are going to be times where you have those little demons that say, oh, you think this is good? You think people are going to like this? You're kidding yourself. But you got to stick with it, because as I've figured out, the only voice that really matters is your own. And there are going to be times where it's going to be hard. There are going to be times where you're going to want to hang up the towel, or just not want to do things anymore, or just quit it all entirely. But if it's something that really makes you happy and something that you like doing, there's no sense in you hanging that up, because your happiness is really all that matters. It only takes practice. It only takes time. And don't sell yourself short.
That's great advice, Lucas. Thank you so much. And you're the living proof of that. Like, what happens if you just tenacious and you do what you love and you follow it and you pursue and you're resilient. You just keep going, even on the hard days. Even when I throw something at you that's crazy, you're like, okay, and then you figure it out. And sometimes it takes a couple tries, and then you get it, and then you're proud, and then you get to say, you know what, I did my destiny. Like, this is what I was made to do, and I love it, and I'm proud of it. And I call it legacy work. When I create something and I'm really proud, I'm like, ooh, that's my legacy. When I'm dead and gone, I hope that this story lives on in the world, because it was something I was created to make. So thank you for being here, Lucas. If you want to check out more of Lucas's work, it's going to be coming out all this year. He's going to have lots of different projects coming out with his name on it. You're going to want to see them. Go to mycalmworld.com and get links and learn more about our story as a team. And you can also get links to some of his projects and notes on when new things are coming out and that kind of stuff. Thanks, everybody, for coming for AFA Highlights. We look forward to seeing you again as we highlight more of the accomplishments of AFA students and alumni. Thank you for being here, Lucas.
Of course.
It was so fun to showcase you. You're such a talented individual. Thanks, everybody. Goodbye, and we'll see you next.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of AFA Highlights. We hope today's stories brightened your day and inspired you to connect more closely with AFA Hub. Every time you listen, like, follow, or subscribe to our student projects, you're helping to pave the way for their future success. If you're ready to unleash your creativity, remember that AFA Hub dives deep into the exciting worlds of animation, film, game design, and visual effects. We're more than a school. We're a launch pad for passionate creators ready to shape the future. With hands-on learning, live classes, and a supportive online community, AFA Hub turns raw talent into rewarding careers. Visit our website to learn more. Share this episode with someone who would enjoy it, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel to get notified about new episodes. We'll be back soon with a new episode. Thank you for listening.